What up, YouTube? This video was taken on this Saturday afternoon, July 22nd, 2023. And it's been a while. I just finished flying 10 packs. It's been a while that I just went out and flew 10 packs. But it felt good, I kind of went spot hopping a little bit. I was in an unfamiliar area, so I just went to the closest spot that was on the FPV map, and it turned out to be a real gem. It was an abandoned hotel. I was a little squeamish, I guess, because I was kind of there by myself. I wish I had someone with me as a spotter in case someone walked up on me, but I think it was actually abandoned. I don't think anyone was actually living in it. It was at a location that if a homeless person lived there, it would kind of be hard for them because there wasn't really anything around. But yeah, and then I kind of just went spot hopping around. But man, my flying is real off. It must be because I haven't been flying that much, but I don't know. I just been feeling very off lately. I converted all my quads over to FR Sky, and I'm flying with I converted all my quads over to ELRS, and I'm flying with the FR Sky X9 Lite, which I really love that transmitter. The gimbals on it, I got the Pro Edition. The gimbals on it are so good. So I don't know if my flying's off because of that, even though the controller feels really good in my hand. But I think it just comes down to I need to start flying some more. For a while there, I didn't have hardly any quads running, but I got all my quads up and running, and like I said, converted to ELRS. And I had 3 quads to start out with, and I went through 10 packs, and the only thing I broke was an arm on a GLRL frame. And in the past, okay, so right now I'm going back to a previous spot to see if I dropped my 8mm wrench somewhere. It's gone. I thought I would drive back to the closest spot since it wasn't that far, just to double check. Yeah, I put my 8mm wrench in my pocket and it fell out somewhere. I would have thought that if it fell out on the asphalt, it would have made a sound and I would have heard it. I checked the car. I'm hoping that maybe it's in the car somewhere. But yeah, so the only damage is a broken arm. And the problem I had with the GRL frames, since I have individual ESCs and they're not made for individual ESCs, I had a bad luck that when I broke an arm, I would pull off pads off the flight controller. But fortunately, that didn't happen this time. I only flew my DJI quads today. I didn't fly the HD0 quad. I just remember I was going to reference a video, but I didn't post the video publicly, so you have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, in that other video, I was flying with HD0 and I crashed, and my video signal wasn't good after I crashed. But I haven't flown that quad since then, so I don't know if that was just a fluke or if I broke an antenna or something. But yeah, I have 1 HD0 quad, 2, which is my Questar frame, and then I have 2 DJI quads, which are GRL. And I'm in the process. I'm all geared up. I have all the parts and stuff to build 2 more frames. I'm going to build 2 Questar frames, 1 HD0 and 1 DJI. On the HD0 one, I'm using these flight controllers that have the gyro that only goes 3.2 kilohertz. And when I bought the flight controllers, that was the only one in stock for Holybro. But when I tuned the HD0 quad with that gyro, I don't know, I just could not get it really locked in, which the very first Questar frame, which I lost in a retention pond, when I tuned that one, and that one had the gyro that has the good gyro, I forget which one it is. When I tuned that one, that was the best flying quad I ever had. So my plan is, I do have another one of those flight controllers. I'm going to build a DJI Questar frame just like that first Questar frame that I build, and I have it documented here on YouTube. And I'm hoping I can get it tuned and have it flying real good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that frame back and have that be like my really good drone that I only take out on special occasions, because I want a drone that I can trust and is reliable and it's not all beat up for special occasions if I decide to do a sketchy building dive or something. So that's the plan for that. I just haven't had time to build up those quads. Um, Mostly, my biggest excuse nowadays is school. I have 4 weeks left till I graduate, and man, it can't come fast enough. Although I feel like I got the majority of my assignments done, so I am kind of seeing like over the horizon, I guess, the light at the end of the tunnel. But I still have 4 weeks to go. Though I'm taking two classes. Really, I'm only taking one class, and the second one's my senior project. My senior project really gave me trouble because I'm doing an embedded programming project, and I was going to use a Raspberry Pi Pico, and I was going to program it in using the Arduino IDE. And I got this shield off of Amazon with push buttons, joystick, and a screen, and I could not get that thing to work. I even used their MicroPython example, and I could not get that thing to work. And one frustrating thing about the whole thing is I'm not really a big fan of having these libraries that you have no idea what's involved in. Programming that Pico in Arduino is very convoluted because you really don't understand what it's actually compiling for the support libraries. And for that LCD screen, when I was trying to troubleshoot it, it had these global variables dictating what pins they were using for the um, was it I square C? No, it was not I square C. It was, I forget. It wasn't UART. It was like MOSI. And the Pico, you can map those MO. It has two hardware MOSIs. Why in the? I can't. My mind's blank. I forget what the MOSI format is. But anyway, it has two libraries, or it has two hardwares for that, and you can change which set of pins each hardware is controlling, and the library used global defined variables, and I thought that maybe that's the reason why I couldn't get the screen to work. And for the life of me, I tried to search where those global defines are located to see what pin numbers they were, and I could not figure out where the Arduino was compiling, like where that library was. And people were saying like, oh, if you're in Arduino, the new Arduino 2 IDE, you can go and just click on that and it'll take you straight to where they're defined. That did not happen for me. So anyway, it got so frustrating, and here I'm on a time crunch to do that senior project. I ended up switching to using a good old AVR microcontroller and uh, programming it in bare metal, I guess you can say, bare metal C, which is how I always programmed it. And it just makes things so much better because when you do it that way, you know exactly where everything is coming from. So when this is all said and done, I think for a project, I am going to try to get that Pico working with that shield, because man, that shield was really cool. It makes a really great format for developing with that color LCD screen. And I was afraid that the professor, so we had to do like these 3-page reports on how we're progressing in the senior project. And I was so afraid, since I changed the microcontroller, I was going to have to redo my previous reports since they're not valid anymore. But the professor didn't say anything. And the actual project's still going to work. It's still going to do what it wants to do. But I was kind of relying on the fact that the Raspberry Pi Picos, you can have them as flash storage, and I was going to make up these databases for the project but all that's out the window now because you can't do that with AVR. But like I said, the lights at the end of the tunnel, I got it working. I just need to install a LiPo battery, and I need to design a 3D case for it, and then I got to finish um, the presentations and stuff for the senior project. But that was really frustrating when I could not get that to work. Another thing that's been happening that I haven't posted it on YouTube. Actually, I'm probably going to post this video first, even though I already have the video uploaded. I built a new computer. I wanted Newegg had a sale that the new 4080 well, they're not new anymore. They're like one generation old. The 4080 graphics card, I got one on sale, so I decided to build a computer around that. And I did that because anything over 1080p, I could not edit in real time on my old computer. I could export 4K, but I couldn't edit 4K without pre-rendering it, and the workflow was horrible. So anyway, I built a new 4K computer. I built a new computer to edit 4K video, and it edits 4K video without any hesitation. You don't have to pre-render anything. And I switched to Davinci Resolve, which isn't as bad as I thought. It is a little convoluted, but I've been watching a lot of videos. There's a lot of video tutorials on it, and once I get it down, I think actually the workflow is going to be a lot smoother than when I was using CyberLink Power Director. And I do have one problem with this new computer. I bought two brand new Samsung monitors because I wanted to go to dual screen and I wanted to have the same monitors. They're connected to DisplayPort, and they never go to sleep. When the computer, you have that power setting to turn off the monitor. When the computer turns off the monitor, they auto scan for a source. So they auto scan, they go to HDMI. Then when they turn off, and when they turn off, they immediately turn on, and then it sends some kind of you get the disconnect and reconnect audio on the computer, and it does that constantly, and they never turn off. And because it's constantly, device manager is constantly disconnecting and reconnecting, the computer never goes to sleep. And other people, I Google searched this problem, other people have had the same problem. Some people changed some settings and they said they get it to work. I tried to change every single setting. I could not get it to work. The only solution people had was to use HDMI. So the monitors only came with DisplayPort cables, and my graphics card has one HDMI port and 3 display ports. So I bought off of Amazon, I bought a DisplayPort to HDMI cable. So hopefully when I put that on there, that'll sort that off, and the monitors will be able to go to sleep. Samsung, on the support request, Samsung tell people to mess with the power settings, but it's definitely a problem with the firmware of the monitor that I guess display ports can connect and disconnect kind of like USB can in the device manager. So we'll have to see how it works with the HDMI cable. And then on top of all that, I bought a new camcorder. Bought a new Sony 4K camcorder, AX43A, which I got a really good deal on it. First off, I thought those camcorders are kind of old. But when I was searching for 4K camcorders, and I kind of like Sony, they just don't produce any new ones anymore. And even though this one's like 4 years old, it's still, their newest model. It works really well. And like I said, I got a really good deal on it on Walmart.com, but it was sold through Walmart.com, but someone else sold it, another company. And spoiler alert, the reason the deal was so good was because it ended up being a PAL international camcorder, which would not allow me to, it had me stuck in 25p, which is the PAL frame rate. I could not get 30p. And I was like, oh, great, well, I'm going to have to return it. But luckily, Walmart.com, you can return the stuff in store, so that wouldn't have been a big deal. But I Google searched it, and apparently there's these guys that hack the firmware for a lot of these Sony camcorders, and you can go and converted over to NTSC. So that's what I did. I followed the instructions. It worked right away. I put hacked firmware on there, and now it records in 30p. And another thing it does is apparently it would shut off after 30 minutes. And the reason they have that programmed on there that it won't record any videos longer than 30 minutes is because apparently the European Union has tariffs on camcorders that get imported, and they consider a camcorder device that can record video for over 30 minutes. So um, doing that hacked firmware, it unlocks that or disables that so you can record for over 30 minutes in NTSC. So that was kind of cool that I was able to get a good deal on that camcorder brand new. Just and as far as I can tell, the hacked firmware is working great. So from now on, pretty much all my videos are going to be in 4K. I just need time to actually produce videos. But yeah, pretty much that is all I have to talk about. A little general update. Once I get done this college in 4 weeks, I'm using that as an excuse for why I can't get things done. Hopefully, I can be more productive and get more YouTube videos out. I am kind of jonesing to get back onto the animatronics, and I know you guys will appreciate that too. Also, another thing is last time I did one of these flapping videos in the car, there was a lot of background noise, even though I'm using this nice lapel recorder. But I was playing around with Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve has some really good audio filters, so I'm going to run that through here. I just cranked up the AC a little more. We'll see if that messes up the recording at all. Hopefully that'll clear out the recording. We'll see how Davinci Resolve does on that. And one last thing before I leave is I was doing really good on my health, keeping my weight around. I got kind of stagnant at 175. I was doing really well. I was on a running routine. I was running like 3 miles at a time, 10-minute miles, so like for 30 minutes. And I was feeling good, eating good. And then this week, I just totally fell by the wayside. I just started eating junk food. I started eating junk food strictly to get like the dopamine of eating junk food. I know that sounds stupid, but I was talking to my friend about that, about like if I go to Taco Bell and get a meal, the fact of me driving to Taco Bell and getting the meal like gives me dopamine. But I totally fell off the wayside. So, there's that saying, there's one day and there's day one. So tomorrow's going to be day one. I'm going to go back to no drinkable calories. So no soda. I've been real bad about soda. No drinkable calories at all. And I didn't run at all this week. For some reason in the mornings after work, I just didn't feel like in the mood to run, and I couldn't get myself in gear to run. So I'm going to try to suppress that and try to run 3 times this week, 3 miles a time, and try to keep that a routine. My weight surprisingly, my weight didn't go real crazy, but it kind of crept up there. I'm still under 180, but it's kind of up there. So hopefully tomorrow will actually be day one, and I can get my weight under control. It's real funny because, like I said, I really wanted to eat junk food and drink soda and stuff, but the long-term effects of that, you don't feel good. Like it makes my stomach sour, and you just don't feel good overall. So it's kind of funny how it's like catch 22. Like I really wanted the soda, really wanted to eat the junk food, but then when it's all said and done, you actually feel worse like that. But anyway, I thought I would ramble on top of these flight videos for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.